Good day everyone. This is the comprehensive critique paper on graduate level students' techniques and difficulties in proving theorems of abstract algebra, and the author is Avatar Sobedi. My name is Summerson Sikis Ing from St. Mary's University. Let's start with the issue. So the issue for this paper is the weaknesses found in the different parts of the paper like introduction, review of related literature, methodology, results and discussion, conclusions, and references. Just a disclaimer, this critique paper is written to provide an in-depth analysis of Avatar Sobedi's study titled Graduate Level Students' Techniques and Difficulties in Proving Theorems of Abstract Algebra. The primary aim of this critique is to identify both the strengths and weaknesses of Sobedi's research, with a focus on its methodology, findings, and proposed solutions to the challenges graduate students face in learning abstract algebra. By critically examining the study's approach to investigating student difficulties and strategies in proving theorems, this paper seeks to highlight the conditions Sobedi has made to the understanding of abstract algebra education. At the same time, it will assess areas where the study may fall short in addressing certain aspects of the problem, such as its generalizability or the adequacy of the proposed pedagogical interventions. This critique is intended to not only evaluate the study's effectiveness in its objective, but also to provide constructive feedback for future research and for educators seeking to improve teaching practices in abstract algebra. Through this process, we aim to offer a balanced perspective on the research, providing readers with a clearer understanding of its significance and limitations in the context of mathematics education. We go now to the article summary. In the study, graduate level students' techniques and difficulties in proving theorems of abstract algebra, Avatar Sobedi investigates the challenges faced by graduate students in proving theorems in abstract algebra, a branch of mathematics known for its abstract structures and rigorous proofs. Using a mixed methods approach, Sobedi collects qualitative and quantitative data, including surveys and interviews, to understand the difficulties and strategies students use in tackling abstract algebra problems. The study identifies that students struggle with understanding abstract mathematical structures such as groups, rings, and fields, which are often disconnected from tangible examples. This lack of conceptual clarity impedes their ability to fully grasp the definitions, properties, and operations essential for proving theorems. Additionally, students find it difficult to apply proof techniques like mathematical induction, proof by contradiction, and direct proof, which are fundamental in abstract algebra. Many students lack the experience or tools necessary for structuring formal, rigorous proofs and often rely on informal reasoning. Sobedi highlights that a gap in students' prior mathematical knowledge, particularly their exposure to rigorous proof-based mathematics, exacerbates these difficulties. As a result, students struggle with transitioning from concrete problem solving to abstract reasoning required in abstract algebra. To address these issues, Sobedi recommends pedagogical strategies focusing on conceptual understanding and the development of proof writing skills. He advocates for building a strong foundation in basic algebraic structures and gradually introducing abstract concepts. Methods that bridge the gap between concrete and abstract ideas, such as visual aids, clear definitions, and guided proof practice, are suggested. By emphasizing formal proof writing and structured reasoning, the study offers practical solutions to help students overcome the challenges they face in abstract algebra and improve their performance in the subject. We go now to the analysis and insights about the study. For the introduction, in the study, graduate level students' techniques and difficulties in proving theorems of abstract algebra, Avatar SOBID provides an insightful exploration of the challenges graduate students face in mastering abstract algebra. The paper begins with an essential discussion on the complexity of abstract algebra, which involves understanding abstract mathematical structures such as groups, rings, fields, and modules. The introduction establishes that the ability to prove theorems within this field requires not only mathematical knowledge but also the development of critical thinking and problem-solving skills. The introduction effectively sets the stage for the study by emphasizing the significance of abstract algebra as a fundamental area in higher mathematics. It clearly outlines the importance of understanding both the theoretical and practical aspects of algebra, providing a coherent background for the research. However, the introduction could benefit from a more specific contextualization of the research. For instance, it would be helpful to describe the particular context of the students being studied, such as their academic background, their level of prior experience, and institutional setting, which would allow for a more focused exploration of the challenges they face. And of course, additionally, an explicit research question or hypothesis would help frame the study's objectives more clearly. We go then now to the insight about the review of related literature. SOBID's review of the relevant literature discusses various challenges that graduate students encounter while learning abstract algebra, particularly in proving theorems. The literature review highlights common difficulties such as the abstract nature of algebraic structures, the challenge of rigor in mathematical proofs, and the reliance on advanced proof techniques like induction and contradiction. Moreover, the review touches upon previous studies that emphasize the importance of conceptual understanding, proof strategies, and the need for educators to support students in developing problem-solving skills. The literature review provides a good synthesis of previous research on student difficulties in abstract algebra. However, it lacks depth in discussing the specific pedagogical strategies that have been shown to help students overcome these difficulties. For example, while the review mentions challenges in conceptualization and rigor, it does not explore specific teaching methods like acting learning, problem-based learning, or the use of computational tools that have been proposed in the literature to alleviate these challenges. Including more detailed studies on teaching interventions could have strengthened this section and made it more relevant to educators seeking practical solutions. Additionally, the literature could benefit from a wider range of international perspective, particularly those from regions outside of the author's own country, which may provide a more holistic understanding of global student challenges in abstract algebra. We proceed then to the analysis of his methodology. SOBID employs a mixed methods approach to investigate the techniques and difficulties faced by graduate level students in abstract algebra. The study combines qualitative data through interviews or survey with students and quantitative data through analysis of student performance or questionnaires. This approach allows for a broad examination of both the subjective experiences of students and the measurable aspect of their learning, providing a comprehensive understanding of the topic. The mixed methods approach is appropriate for the study, as it allows for a triangulation of data, enhancing the validity and reliability of the findings. However, the paper could have provided more detail on the specific methodology used. For instance, how were the students selected for the study? What was the sample size? And were the student representative or the broader graduate student population in abstract algebra? Furthermore, more information on the data collection tools like specific survey questions or interview protocols would allow readers to better evaluate the rigor of the methodology. And finally, the author could clarify how the analysis of qualitative and quantitative was integrated. Was it done sequentially or concurrently? And how were the results compared and contrasted to draw conclusions? We proceed now to the analysis for its results and discussion. In the results section, SOBID reports that the most significant difficulties faced by students include conceptualizing abstract algebra structures, understanding the subtleties of definitions, and applying formal proof techniques with rigor. The study finds that many students struggle with indirect proof methods, specifically proof by contradiction and mathematical induction. Additionally, SOBID highlights that students often lack the necessary tools to transition from concrete examples to abstract generalizations. The discussion reflects on these results, noting that students' difficulties in understanding abstract concepts may stem from a lack of foundational mathematical training or insufficient exposure to rigorous proof in earlier stages of their education. The author also touches upon the idea that graduate students are often not prepared for the level of abstraction and complexity in abstract algebra, which leads to frustration and disengagement. The results and discussions are well organized and provide a thorough examination of the challenges faced by students. The study's findings align with much of the existing literature on the given topic. However, the paper would have benefited from more specific examples or case studies from the data. For instance, providing detailed student responses or examples of difficult proof could have enriched the discussion and given the reader more insight into the lived experiences of students. Additionally, the discussion would be strengthened by connecting the results to more specific pedagogical strategies. While the challenges are well articulated, the paper could delve further into how these findings might inform teaching practices. For instance, what specific interventions can be made to address students' struggles with proof techniques? What role can instructors play in scaffolding students' learning processes to help them overcome abstract algebra's conceptual hurdles? Finally, the study's result could be contrasted with the experiences of students in other fields of mathematics. While abstract algebra has its unique challenges, it might be useful to consider whether the difficulties identified here are also prevalent in other areas of advanced mathematics or if they are specific to algebra. Next, we proceed to the analysis for its conclusion. Sobedi concludes that the main difficulties in proving theorems of abstract algebra arise from the inherent abstractness of the subject and the complexity of its proof techniques. The paper suggests that students need greater support in building a strong conceptual foundation in algebra and in developing rigorous proof writing skills. He also advocates for teaching strategies that focus on helping students bridge the gap between concrete and abstract mathematical reasoning. The conclusion appropriately summarizes the findings and offers some valuable recommendations. However, the conclusion could be more explicit about the implications for future research and educational practice. What are the next steps for research in this area? Or could further studies explore the impact of specific teaching interventions on student success in abstract algebra? A more detailed roadmap for future work would enhance the paper's contribution to the field. Additionally, while the study highlights students' difficulties, it could provide more specific recommendations for addressing these challenges in the classroom setting. And for the last part of my critique paper, the analysis for its reference. The references include a range of foundational texts in abstract algebra and relevant pedagogical literature. However, the paper could be improved by including more recent research studies, especially those that examine novel teaching approaches or student performance in abstract algebra courses. This would ensure that the study is up to date with current trends and innovations in both mathematics education and abstract algebra. The references section is generally well constructed, but it lacks a broader diversity of sources. For instance, citing more international studies or research from diverse educational contexts could provide a richer perspective. Additionally, the paper would benefit from references to studies on the effectiveness of specific teaching tools such as active learning computational software or flipped classroom, which have been increasingly applied in mathematics education. So that would be all for my critique paper for this paper. Again, this is Summerson C. Kissing. Thank you so much.